Good morning. How is everyone doing today? I'm a bit pumped up today. Just closed out the pound yen. So, Vinesha was just asking about that on YouTube. Just asking, how am I doing? I just literally closed out the pound yen before we started this, before I jumped onto this session. So, very pumped, very pumped. No worries, Bill. I'm sure there'll be chance today, tomorrow, the day after. It will come. Hey, Ayakame, how you doing? I'm well. I'm very well. Hey, Jen B. Jen B is back. Jen is back. That's all we need to know. And Bao has found the YouTube channel, so Bao is back as well. We'll give it a couple of minutes before we get started. If you haven't already, the link is there. Join the Discord channel. Is it a channel? Is it a room? Is it a server? Is it a group? I'm terrible with Discord. So let me know. And BL gave me a good feedback as well on Discord. So I'm still looking for you guys to help me out with that. Okay. And what I'll tell you as well is that it is free to join, and you have my word that it will be free forever. So make sure you join if you would like. You can also share. I think you can create an invite link. I think you can create a link. Share it around with anyone else that you want to. Get them on board. Entirely free to join. Hey, take calculated risk. How are you doing? Good morning. It's 2 a.m. If I remember correctly, it's 2 a.m. for him for take calculated risk, and he's here. So good to have you. Hey, Nick, how are you doing? Good day. Right. So I was just saying that if you enjoy I'm still looking for you guys to share your trade ideas. Whether it's a good trade, whether it's a bad trade, just post it up. I'm happy to look through it together with you guys in the Discord channel. Share that. It is absolutely free to join. It will be free to join for as long as I'm running the thing, right? And I will be running the thing. There's no one else. What else? Yeah, so you can always share it along with anyone else that you want to. It will be there. It's available to anyone. I don't even think you have to get authorized to join or whatever. Just click and join. Just don't abuse the channel or the group or the server or the room. All right. And also, if those of you who are new to the session, I hope you, or new to trading, I hope you managed to catch the very quick video that I did this morning. I just came into the office, felt inspired, pumped out a quick video for new traders. Hey, Angel Case, how are you doing? Hey, Spiros from Greece. I know, I remember. Hey, Maboso. Mabaso. Again, if I get your names wrong, please let me know. Let me know, okay? I want to get it right. I intend to get it right. Bao says best FX coach. Well, I try my best. I try. It only works when you guys let me know what help you need. So I'll try my best. Alrighty, so let's get started again. Thank you all for joining the session, the daily market analysis. I have a thought. I will rename this session, maybe the trade plan or something like that. Okay, so I'll rename it. It's just a bit of a mouthful, daily market analysis, and it gets boring as well. All right, so it's still be the same thing. 3 p.m. every day we are here on TradingView on YouTube. When I can figure out how to stream it across multiple different platforms, we'll be across multiple different platforms as well. What we do during this session is that I will do a review of what happened on the fundamental front, right, in terms of news. We do a preview of what's coming up, and we do have a number of things coming up, not today, but tomorrow onwards. Then we look at the technicals in terms of the charts, where price is, where price could head towards. Putting all that together, we look at possible trade setups, identifying good risk to reward trades, high probability, high profitability trades. I'll try my best to prioritize it for you guys as well. But as with trading, so I was talking to one of the members. Is that I was talking to members that what was I saying? I was telling him, share his trade ideas, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not too sure whether, what if it conflicts with yours?" I'm like, "Hey, it's fine. If I'm talking about buying the euro, for example, and you were looking at selling the euro, it doesn't matter. Post it up because I'm not always going to be right. All right, I might be wrong sometimes, or I will be wrong sometimes. So just post up, share your trade ideas. I think it works better where we all can see different approaches to the market." All right. So SY Wong, I think I know who SY Wong is, but drop me a PM just to confirm. Just to confirm that I know who it is. I don't want to say her name yet. So yeah, no more on the other platform. We're on Discord right now. Hi Chiwan, how you doing? All right. So again, for all the regulars, and we've got a whole bunch of regulars here. Welcome. Thank you for being a regular. For if you're new to the session, drop a message, say hi. Let me know where you're joining from. The link is there as well. Make sure you do jump onto Discord, and then we can, if you've got any other questions apart from this, outside of this 1 hour session that we're doing here, you can always ask it in there. We're forming a community. We're building the community. It's very new. I'm not going to deny it. It's very new. So join up, contribute, take advantage of it in terms of improving your trading, and then I'm sure we'll all see better trading results, more consistent for the longer term. All right, so with that dragged on for a little bit too long. Okay, with that said, a quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, so please do your own due diligence. All right. So I do look at many trade ideas, and over the last 2 days, especially, well, Monday and Thursday last week, with the news release, with the choppy price action, with markets being closed on some days, yesterday in particular, we had very choppy price action. So it's not always that trade setups get triggered. Okay, first off, it's not always that trade setups work out as well. So please do your own due diligence. Don't just blindly copy. All right, learn how we look at the setups. I share quite in detail about the fundamentals, about the planning, the trade planning, and all that. So take all that together, make sure it fits with your own trading approach, and then share your progress with us in the community. Hey Peter from Kenya, Nairobi. Yes, kindly look at on pound yen. My bias is forming a head and shoulder pattern on the daily and H4 time frame. Okay, that's interesting. I was just telling Vanessa just then that just before this session, I think it was 5 minutes before this session, I just closed out my pound yen as it traded up 30 pips, closed out, and that's it. Almost possibly that's it done for this afternoon. I'll look at what else for tonight. All right. So with that said, let's keep going. Okay, so coming to the news first. Let's look at the news first. Yesterday, it was a bit odd. It was a little bit odd because we had the New Zealand, we had the Australians, we had the Swiss, we had the UK, the British, we had the Eurozone on a bank holiday because it was Easter Monday. I hope you all had a good Easter weekend. But with all the, with a lot of the major economies closed on a bank holiday, the only one that was open, or not the only one, the major one that was open was the US. I was initially anticipating that we might see a quiet trading session yesterday, right? Low volatility, low liquidity. But what in fact we saw was relatively big dollar strength. Okay, so I'll show you here the dollar index chart. So we were talking about this yesterday. I was saying, it's likely to come down and bounce around this 102 level with no clear direction. And then what happened at about 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock? The dollar started shooting up. All right, it bounced off this 102 level. It bounced off this 102 level, pretty much rocketed up towards 102.80. And then after that, since this morning, has been retracing back down. I'm not sure what happened here, right? This candle at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, it shows here on TradingView that price shot down. Well, I don't know whether it shot down and then up or bounced around at this level. And it doesn't reflect on my MT4. It doesn't reflect on, on both my MT4 accounts. So I'm going to ignore this. I think it might be a bit of a price glitch or, from a different LP maybe. I can't explain what happened here. So I'm going to ignore this big drop, okay? If anyone has an idea of what happened at this point, do let me know as well. So that was what happened yesterday in terms of news. Not a lot, but with most markets closed, I think that it was the case where pretty much the US or the dollar index, the US dollar had free reign on the markets, no one to defend against it, and that's why we saw that strength. Now with markets back open again, we're seeing the dollar trade back down, and I do think that it's likely to come back down to that 102 level. Okay, it's likely to come down to that 102 level. Let me just move this so I don't have to move my head too much. And it shows that it's moving to the downside as well. So it needs to break below this. No, this is not valid anymore. Let's take this away for now. My nose is going mad again. Fib level up. All right, sorry about the sniffing. Something just irritating my nose now. All right, so we might be looking at it's currently looking like it's trying to break below 38.2. Could trade down, and if I did drag this right across, you can see that if it breaks below, or if it closes below 38.2, we're early in the hour right now. If it closes below 38.2, we could see it trade down towards 102, right? The 38.2 fib level, we can see it trade down towards 102. With today, you can see that there's also no news to be released. So I think that it's quite likely we're going to see the dollar index. So this is not going to happen, right? Trade down if it does break and bounce around this 102 level, right? It sounds like I'm saying the same thing as compared to yesterday, but I do think that's likely to happen. It might break a little bit, but I think it's going to trade within that 102 range because it looks like the market might be setting up for the big one tomorrow with the CPI, with the US CPI to be released year on year, looking to go from a 6.0 to a 5.2. Right? This is going to indicate a relatively significant slowdown in inflation growth, which might lead to the Fed thinking they have, more sustained downward pressure on inflation growth. We saw very good numbers on employment during the non-farm payrolls on Friday. So the risk, I wouldn't say that the risk is over for high unemployment numbers, but it's a little bit offset. So we're looking at possibly markets setting up, and you can see that we don't have too much news leading up to this event tomorrow, 8:30 GMT plus 8. So I think that what we might see here on the dollar, if it does break below 38.2, the fib level at that 102.27 level, and breaks below that trend line, we could see it trade along 102, a little bit, maybe a little bit lower, like that. But then at that point, through to tomorrow, then we'll see some clearer directional bias being formed. All right. I saw the pound yen move, but too late to enter. Got to be on the group. I was signaling that like mad yesterday. Okay, so 11th of April, dollar index to trade down and along 102 support level. Okay, it does need to break below that trend line first. All right. One more news to highlight to you guys is also, and I shared this here. So I didn't realize that you guys can't see this channel until today. Why we see massive yen weakening is BOJ, the new governor, Ueda, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Ueda from the Bank of Japan has signaled that they will continue with their large-scale monetary easing policy as adopted by the previous leadership. All right, so that's actually quite a big item, quite an interesting item, because markets have been anticipating that BOJ Governor Ueda, or new governor, might what's the word, scale back or might tweak or trim on the monetary easing policy that Kuroda had set. So for him to come out and say that no, we will continue, that's one of the reasons why we saw the yen weaken very significantly. Not just on the US yen, but on the pound yen as well, pretty much across the board on the yen pairs. Okay, so there was a news that came out last night where they said that the Bank of Japan is likely to continue or will continue with the current monetary policy easing stance. I am Miko. The link, I can't share it on, I don't know why I can't share it on TradingView during the stream, but I'll show you here. So, you guys all know my profile. You can, if you click on the most recent one, it's going to be there. All right, so the link is right there for you guys. If you're on YouTube, I have been sharing the link there as well. Chinon says, when you open up Discord, whole streaming slows down. Okay, so I won't open up Discord then. Sorry about that. I need a stronger, more powerful computer. Time to upgrade. All right, so the link is there for you guys. And if you're on YouTube, then the link is there for you guys as well. All right, so nothing much else in terms of news. So let's look at the charts. I'm just looking at how price is moving right now. Okay, so Kiwi dollar yesterday, we were looking at this. We were saying, with that trend line, I was looking for it to bounce, to trade up. It didn't happen. It bounced a little bit, all right? It broke, and then it tried to bounce up a little bit, but then it broke through that trend line. So this trade didn't trigger. We'll take that away. Given that the trade didn't trigger, and you can see now it's very interesting that we're seeing the Kiwi dollar trade, the last 2 hours, showing that red candle, showing that bearish move or the potentially bearish move to the downside, but we're actually seeing the dollar weaken as well. All right. So I think there were some questions before, how do we know, or should we look at the index for the currency? The way I look at it is I see the dollar weakening, and I see the Kiwi dollar looking like it's trading lower. It should be pushing up. This is going to signify or signifies to me that there is some level of weakness on the Kiwi dollar as well. Okay, as I speak, it bounces up. So what I would be looking for here, right, this trend line, from it being a support, okay, if I just drag this right across, am I dragging or am I moving? Okay, I'm dragging it right across. One thought might be whether we could see the Kiwi dollar, because of the dollar weakness right now, could see it trade up, test, and then turn back down. Right, very similar to what we saw here, came up, test, and turn back down. If that happens, then we could be seeing a selling opportunity. So about 0.6245, very tight stop loss here, about 20 pips. I would say your take profit could be 40, right? Or it could be even almost 100 pips to the downside. Right, we've got a good strong support here. So it could be 100 pips to the downside with, I'll tell you what we do, with a hesitation at about 40 pips. All right, so we're looking for either this move to push up, test the resistance, and turn down, looking for a sell, or if it does trades down from here, then what you could also be looking for is to sell down from this point, 6195. You know, tight. You can even do 15 to 20 pip. Let's say 15. I'll say 20 as well. 40 pip stop loss. You can do a 20 pip there. 1:2. All right. So naturally, I would prefer if it goes up, because the dollar is weak or showing some weakness right now, for it to push up, test, and then come back down again. Okay. So my problem here is that I have two potential trades on the Kiwi. So we're looking to sell. Let's do the bigger one first. Sell down from 6245, 20 pip stop loss, 100, almost 90 pip take profit. Sell down from 6245. Stop loss about 20 pips. Take profit about 90 pips. All right. Hesitation at 40 pips. I think so. Where was it? Let's see. Yeah, about 40 pips. Okay. Makes sense so far. Can anyone please help to show me how to add Jin's profile in my trading view? How do you do that? Okay, Pao, you can just go to my, search for me. I'll put the link in there. Then I think when it comes up, you can just click follow. There's supposed to show a word follow there, and you can just click on that. Okay, let me just show you an example. Like, for example, if I went to this guy, I can just click follow there. And that's how you'd follow. Not doing a plug on this guy, but you can just click follow and then you join up. Okay, so that's the Kiwi dollar H1 time frame, looking for that downside potential. Ideally, I would look for a bounce and then a turn down, or if it just turns down from here, then you only look to sell when it breaks yesterday's low. Okay, so with that, then we look at the Aussie. Aussie has been actually very interesting. Okay, I wrote about this on a post just today as well, because I wanted to get into this, but I was just being a little bit risk adverse for now. So the trade yesterday didn't trigger. I'll take that away just to clean up the charts a little bit. But what I want to show you here on the Aussie, why I think is really interesting, is that we have this big downward move. It's broken that level. The last time it found this support level, right, over here towards the end of March, we saw this big push, right, and then test this level, and then the big push towards that almost 0.68 level. So right now, it's again rejected this support level, pushing up. It's broken above this downward trend line already. And also, it's broken above that 23.6 level, right? So it's now broken above 23.6 as well. So I'm actually quite interested to see whether the Aussie dollar could trade significantly higher, right? This is in divergence to the correlation with the Kiwi dollar, just with the way it's moving, right? I would like to see, and this is a bit of a longer term play, as a, that 61.8 level is there. So I'm wondering whether we could see this trade up towards that 6726 level, and maybe even beyond that, back towards that 0.68. So, this as a trade, if you wanted to play a bit safer, you could look at getting in from Friday's high, right? 6685. Take profit would be about 40 pips. Stop loss could be very tight, just below that support at about 20. Okay. Alternatively, the big trade is that 60 pip stop loss, that 100 and almost 100 over pip take profit. When I was looking at this morning, price was actually at that point, and that actually looked a lot better as well. All right. So the super safe option is right there at about 6685. Stop loss about 25 pips. Take profit, I would say go for the 100, but you also know that at about that 40 pip level is a hesitation. Okay. Invite is invalid. Okay. Miko, I will PM you the link. I don't know why invite is invalid or has expired. Let me just figure that one out later. I will drop you a message with that link in there. Okay. Later, after the session. I'm trying to do too many things at one time. Okay. I'm super excited about this trade as well. 6685. Let's try that. Oh, it's the same one that we had. 6685. Stop loss 20. Take profit 40. I would say take profit at 100 with a hesitation at 40. Okay. So go there. Who wants to offer to be a moderator for me, just to help me answer questions, answer technical questions? Okay, hesitation at 40 pips. That's odd. Oh, okay. Thanks for that, BL. Apparently, the links expires after 7 days. So I'll PM you guys. Okay, I'll PM you guys on that. Okay, but more importantly, let's get to the trades. If you have any issues, drop me a message. I see a message here. Someone did drop me a message. What happened to your... Oh, okay. Oops, take that away. Okay, so that wasn't a message I was going to look at. Now, yes, so you can drop me a message. Just try to figure that one out. What am I looking at? US yen. All right, US yen worked like a charm yesterday. It worked like a charm yesterday. It came down, it tested that diagonal trend line, upward trend line, right? It tested that upward trend line, and then it pushed up strongly. In fact, it pushed up a lot stronger than I had anticipated. I thought it would get to the resistance of that 133 level, but in fact, it went all the way up to 133.80, almost 133.85. It hit this point, this high point where we saw on the 17th of March, came very close on the 3rd of April, and then now again. Okay, so let me just take this away. I didn't signal, US yen looking to buy on retrace at 132 or 131.80, so that happened, right? 132 was there, it came down, hit the round number level, and went up. Again, hey, if any of you did get into the trades, do let me know. I really want to find out. Now, what's happening on the US yen is that it's retracing, right? So it went up, hit that resistance level, it's retracing. This diagonal trend line is still valid. So what I'm looking for here, all right, what I'm looking for here is this move. Okay, and you can see that 133 is that 23.6% fib level. Okay, it's at that point, and also 38.2 would come down to this trend line again. Very similar to what we saw yesterday. So two things to think about is whether price is going to come down to this round number level and bounce back up, or is it going to come down to this 38.2 level and bounce back up? It looks like a repeat. It looks like I've just shifted everything across, but that's what I'm anticipating for the US yen. And also, crucially, I'm looking at 135 as a possible, or as a resistance level. Okay, so I'm looking at possibly quite big upside here on the US yen. What we need is for the dollar to, maybe trade down and then bounce back up after that, maybe with the news tomorrow. But we're looking at this pushing down. So as a trade idea, what I would be looking for, a reaction along, so this between this area, so I'd say a reaction along 133, right? My stop loss will be about 30 to 40, maybe 40 pips to the downside below that resist support level, right? Below that support level, and also take profit quite big to that 135 resistance level with the hesitation at almost at 134. Okay, so US yen, I'm looking to buy from 133. 133, stop loss about 40, TP 180, 185. Okay, so this is high on my list. This is very high on my list just with the way the yen has been moving. It does need to retrace a little bit now, for that good uptrend continuation, right? You can see the US yen always pushes, and this is a feature, well, not feature, characteristics of the yen is that it does consolidate, retrace, and a big push. Consolidate, retrace, big push, right? This one was a drop and then big push. So now it's consolidating, it's retracing a little bit. I'm looking for that big push to the upside again. All right. Then pound dollar, right? I was actually very close to the pound dollar, entering the pound dollar yesterday, at 5 to, I think I'm updating you guys at about that 7 o'clock time where it looked like it was going to push or close above. Didn't happen, right? The dollar strength saw the pound dollar push strongly to the downside, but then, not sustained. Now the dollar dropping, we're seeing the pound dollar push back up. So I would say this view would still continue. I would say we can be a bit safer and say at about 1.24, 1.2440. Stop loss 40, take profit about 40, 50 pips. So 1:1 to the upside. So just a little bit more breathing space there for the pound dollar. I would like this trade If there were, I would like this trade more if there were possibly a news to come from the UK, but you can see that today we don't have much news happening. It's just pushing up right now because of the um, dollar weakness, and it's breaking above that short-term downward trend line as well. So this could be a trade to the upside. I would even say that actually you could try for this. So you could try for that 70. Okay, so why I would hesitate on that 70 is because there's no real big driver to push price to that level, but this would be a good possible trade setup upwards. Okay, so 40, so 1.2440, 40 pip stop loss. No, I would do it a little bit lower. I'll do 45 pip stop loss because I want it below 1.24. So 1.2440, 45 pip stop loss, 75 pip take profit. Pound, dollar, buy above 1.2440. Stop loss 45. Take profit, what was it? 74. 75. Okay. Hey Kavindu, how you doing? Hey M Leader. M Leader's back from a long weekend, so he's relaxing, chilling out a bit. Okay, so that's my pound dollar. I'm anticipating the upward move. So I was just telling you guys that I just got out of a trade on the pound yen because yen was showing some upward move. Right now it's trading a little bit lower, but pound dollar, I was anticipating that continuation of that push upwards. Pound yen, we spoke about this yesterday, where again it tested that support level, right? That confluence of that support and that trend line and bounced very strongly. Signaled this to you guys on the Discord channel. I got in a little bit later, so I got in I think on the close of that candle. I made about 80 pips to the upside. I had my take profit up there. Didn't ride it all the way up. It just shot up and I closed out the trade. What I did today, just before this session, is where was it on the M? Let me just check my chart on the M5 time frame. Right, I was being a bit naughty. Basically, what I did was that, and very happy that I got. I'm super happy with this session at 3 p.m. because it gets me out of so much trouble, right? I saw price this morning pushing up, testing, came back down, and the next moment it pushed up and it broke above this point. This was a trade I got into. So, and the close of that, right, I got that. That was my 30 pip move to the upside. I had my stop loss down there. I think I had it just as a round number of 20 pips. So that was my trade, right? It went up. I got into that trade at the close of the 5 minute because it was breaking above this point, formed a almost like a double bottom there. We'd say it's a supply or demand zone, and then we saw this push strongly up. Okay, so I closed out my trade there. Very happy I did that because if not, I would be losing money right now. Okay, so that was that. Right now, the pound yen, because we looked at the yen, the US yen, we looked at the pound dollar. Be very careful with the pound yen. I do anticipate, if the yen does push up, we're going to see the pound yen test 166.20, the previous high. But considering that it's at that resistance, it's likely to retrace a little bit, maybe before pushing back up again. Okay, so I'm watching to see what happens here. Okay, and also, hey GMFX Trading, how you doing? Someone said something about pound yen. Peter said pound yen head and shoulder pattern on the daily and H4. Okay, so let's look at H4. I can see, so I think what Peter is referring to is this shoulder here, head, and then if this does trade down, it will be another shoulder. Okay, which, yes, I think that's a relatively valid pattern. If it does trade down, where your trigger level would be, ideally it's at that neckline or that point. I would say that you could be looking to sell the pound yen down. I think it's I don't like the counter trend trades, but if you do see it break down, maybe about that point, so about one, you break down from that point, 164.50, right? So it does need to move about 100 pips downwards for that confirmation of the downward move. Then you could see the pound yen trade quite significantly lower. I do prefer the trending scenario more, right? On the daily time frame, I wouldn't say that I see a strong head and shoulder pattern, more on the H4. All right, Peter, hope I answered your question there. Hey, Clocks, how you doing? Okay, so that's the pound yen, possibly retracing a little bit before pushing up. I think it could come down to this point and then pushing back up again. All right, it all depends on how deep the retracement on the yen is going to be and if the pound dollar continues pushing up. Okay, always remember that correlation between the currency pairs. All right, okay. Let me see. Okay, guys, quick intermission is that if you haven't already, do click that rocket ship button. Do click that thumbs up button on YouTube. Helps with the algorithm, helps us to be found. Okay, euro dollar, so I think pound dollar we did. Euro dollar trading along 109 with no clear direction. It didn't do that. The dollar strength pretty much wiped that trade or the analysis out. We saw a big push down, right now pushing back up again. I would say that, I think I said this yesterday, it's going to fluctuate within this range, within this support and this resistance level, and more narrowly within this range. I'm not super keen on the euro dollar at this point, just because of how it seems to be struggling to form a good or a strong directional bias. Okay, so again, I would say that I'll just do this. Let me clear out everything. I always like a nice clean chart to start off. So we see this pushing up. Okay. We have a nice resistance here. We have somewhat of a support here. Okay, so looking at this, then I would say you have another level here. Keeping it simple is that it's bounced off this trend line, broken above that resistance, now turned support. It could trade up to that 1.0932 level, but if it gets there, if you enter right now, that's only a 27 pip move to the upside. I don't think it's 30 pips. No, I still don't like this. This might happen, but I don't like it. What you could do, right, apart from the idea of not forcing a trade, is that you could see whether it's going to do that. Okay, then you might be looking to sell down from this point. But this is not a today. It's not a today trade. It's going to be a longer term trade, or going to wait a while for that to happen. A 20 pip stop loss, 60, 70 pip take profit to the downside. But we're just going to let, it's going to move. I don't know when it's going to stop. So I would say let the euro dollar trade up and then possibly look for a reversal back down again. Okay, likely to trade up. Look for reversal down at swing high. M Leader got it right. I can't share the link on the chat on TradingView, so drop me a message. And I'll send you the link. All right, and I'll update that link as well on the profile. All right, I didn't know it expires, so I'll update that as well. Well, dollar is dropping very strongly. Looks like it's going to break. We're 15 minutes away from this breaking. Could come down to that 102 level. So I'm looking for that move down. US Swiss franc, look at that. It's exactly what the dollar is doing. It shot down, dollar is shooting down, Swiss franc is trading down. Again, similar to the euro, if you did sell, this was a 30 pip move. And this is really just only driven because of that dollar, right? Interestingly is that this is a very low point on the Swiss franc, right? I don't have any points lower for now. Beyond this support will be, the next major one will be at 8933. Okay, so if the dollar does continue dropping, don't do anything right now, but if the dollar does continue dropping, then we could see this trade lower. But be super careful because it is going to be very choppy on that low, at such a significant low. 80 pips to the downside, 20 to 30 pip stop loss on the US Swiss franc trading down if we see that continual weakness on the dollar index. All right, but I think that what we might see is a lot of choppy price action before a bounce back here. So just be careful on that one. So 9030 down, okay. 9020. Okay, sell 0.9020, stop loss about 20 pips, TP about 80 pips. Right? Needs continual DXY weakness. All right, because there is no news coming from the Swiss, so any directional buyers on the US Swiss franc will have to come from the dollar index. Okay, cool. Same thing, US CAD, just be extra careful on the US CAD is because tomorrow we do have the Bank of Canada with their interest rates decision, okay? And they're most likely going to hold it at 4.5%. They have been holding it since the last time round, which was the 8th of March, right? And the 8th of March, if you look at the chart, I've got to find 8th of March now, hang on a second. Okay, here we are. There we go. Okay, 8th of March, the last time they held the rates, move that one across, we saw the CAD push to the upside. Right, we saw the US CAD weaken, or we saw the Canadian dollar weaken, and the US CAD pushing towards the upside. At that point, it wasn't so much because of the Canadians. But if you look at the 8th of March here on the dollar, it was because the dollar index was pushing to the upside. So it's almost like it had very little impact on the Bank of Canada's interest rate decision had very little impact on the CAD, right? But that directional push was because of the dollar index. So with that said, now looking at the US CAD again, it is trading at that point. I would say that it could trade lower because of that dollar weakness. It could trade down. Okay, and I think this would still stay valid at this point here. And in fact, I would revise this support level to be this point here. Okay, so it's broken that trend line. It's looking to break below this interim support level. I'm pretty sure it lines up with that 50%, comes very close to that 50% level. So if it does break below 1.3480, right, you could even be looking at a 25 pip stop loss, 60 pip take profit to the downside, given continual dollar weakness. All right, I would say let's be a little bit safer, just because I'm not convinced to some level that the dollar is going to be that weak, right? It's came down. It's likely to come down to 102 and bounce around this level. So you could, I'll give you a safer option is if it breaks below 61.8, which is 1.3425, about a 20 pip stop loss, a 40 pip take profit. I would prefer a possible trade idea like that. You do give away a little bit of potential profit, but I think it's a safer option there. Okay, so 1.3460, 20 pip stop loss, 40 pip take profit. Sell below 1.3460, 20 pip stop loss, 40 pip take profit. I will, those on YouTube, check out the check back again. I will share that link again. I didn't know that expires, so I'll get you guys the link again. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll just do that. Okay. I'll put that there for you guys. Is there a way to get a link that doesn't expire? This is so annoying. Okay, so that's US CAD done. To the downside, yes. Okay, pound yen we spoke about, but I would say that it's retracing to push back up. So pound yen buy above pound yen we're looking for it to retrace, possibly to that 165 level, 165, and trade up to 166.20. Okay, so pound yen we're looking to buy from 165. Test and reject. 165 to test and reject the trend line. Right? We could be looking at a trade like that. Stop loss, I will keep it very tight, about 30 pips. Take profit 100. Stop loss about 30. Take profit about 100. There is a hesitation at that 165.50 level. At about 165.50. Okay. I actually enjoy these sessions where I'm pretty much narrating through my thought process together with you guys. Um, so do let me know if this helps with your own analysis as well. Okay, and then we had euro pound that we looked at. It didn't trigger, right? I would still say that this would I'll maintain this view on the euro pound because we are expecting the pound dollar to push up, right? So if the pound dollar pushes up, the euro pound should drop. So I will still maintain this view on the euro pound. And then on to gold. Gold, just then when I was looking at it, right, I was talking about gold here today, just below that 2000 level. Now it looks like it's breaking out of 2000. I do anticipate that dollar weakness. We're going to see gold push up. I'm looking for that continuation of the upward move. There was a hesitation level here at that 50% level that you want to watch out for. All right. So if you haven't got into gold, gold, in fact, what I'm doing or I'm looking to do is to even say like, okay, I'm going to get in, small trade. These are my challenge accounts, small, because I'm on live already. I'll just do a small trade there, and I'll start scaling into positions towards that 2033 level. All right. When I was doing the evaluation and the challenge accounts on the prop trading challenge, I was short term on gold. I was scalping gold, quick trades. But now I'm on the live account, and then I'm looking to scale into positions just a little bit easier because I do have other accounts to watch on. Okay. Okay, thanks for that tip, BL. I'll go figure that one out. So gold, I am still looking for it to break above 2000 towards 2033. Euro pound, we've got that same view maintained. Actunis did ask about the Euro Aussie. I remember you asked about that yesterday as well. Euro Aussie, I think you asked about the Euro Kiwi yesterday. Euro Aussie trading, well, Aussie dollar pushing up. No, Aussie dollar sitting right across. Aussie dollar dropping a little bit. That's why it's pushing the Euro Aussie up. Euro dollar trading a little bit higher. That's why it's pushing the Euro Aussie up. The problem about this is the limit is up there, right? And it's held this point, 5th of April, 6th of April, 7th, 10th. It could trade up, but you could be in a wiser thing to do would be to see whether it's going to hit that level and turn back down, just because of how it's been performing before. And if I looked on the H4 and on a daily time frame, the next higher point, which was August 2021, just slightly higher. So I will be very careful. It could push up, but I'll be very careful to think that we're going to see big upside. If this resistance level might form or might hold quite strongly there. Actunis. Okay. I just did gold. Yasli. I just did gold, and gold, we were looking at it to break up, to trade up towards that, well, to break strongly. I wouldn't say it's broken strongly yet, so I'm looking for it to break strongly above that 2000 level and then to trade up towards 2033 with a bit of a hesitation in fact, I would say the hesitation would be more at this 61.8 level, which is 2013. Okay. At this point, any further questions? Vinesh, your narration absolutely helps. It's great to understand your thought process and mindset. Enjoy listening to it. It helps when setting up one's own trade. Great. I'm glad you like it. Um, it just came to the point where I was just thinking, am I mumbling and rambling a bit too much? So glad you're finding it useful. XAGUSD, same thing. Right, I think the last time we spoke about this, we were saying that if it breaks above 25.13, we're going to see that upside move. Got too many lines below. And the last time it broke above 25.13 was back in April last year. We're going to see that resistance there. I would like to say that there is very good potential here on the silver against the US dollar, but it does need to break. So you see here is that I do have this is on the H4 time frame, mind you. There is a horizontal consolidation here. All right, so you could be looking for a breakout to the upside, especially if it breaks above this resistance level. Okay, so yeah, upside potential towards 26.22, but it needs to break out of this consolidation first. If I looked at it on the daily time frame, yeah, definitely needs to break out. This level might hold for a while. This level might hold for a while, but I would only be buying if it breaks out of that area strongly and closes out that level strongly. I have to watch your video DXY. DXY is trading slightly lower. Um, hasn't really convincingly broken that trend line, but I do think it's going to trade down towards that 102 level, and then sit there and wait because of the CPI number to be released tomorrow. We're expecting it to be that 5.2 or maybe even lower. All right, might be even 5. I wouldn't rule out 5. No, wait. Yeah, it might. I don't think it'd be lower than 5.2. I think it'd be about 5.2. Why I was thinking that is I was just thinking of the whole jobs situation that we saw last week, and the main thing was that on Friday, as much as jobs increase, average hourly earnings went up slightly. So from 0.2 to 0.3, earning more is going to apply a little bit of a wage inflation to the overall inflation number. So because of that, then I would say that the dollar index, or rather the inflation number, not going to be a big drop, but it's still maybe 5.2. Okay. Jin, do you buy or sell after a breakout or after a candle of a breakout? Okay, so for example, where was it? For silver, when we're talking about silver, okay, for this scenario, I would say that it needs to break out and close. Okay, I know there's a feature to draw a candle, but I can't figure it out now. It needs to break out and close, then I'll get into a trade. Right? This is for silver. This is a big setup. But for if I'm trading the news, let's say that this was on the smaller time frame, below 1 hour, and I'm looking at this as a news event, then I would just have my order just above that resistance, and then my stop loss will be down there. My take profit will be wherever the resistance is or at interim level, and then it would enter as the price moves. Okay, so I wouldn't be looking at a close. So it depends on the situation, whether it's a news-driven event or whether it's a setup like this. A setup like this would be a bit less time sensitive. So I would wait for the candle to close. Okay. I hope I answered your question there. I am Miko. And then take calculated risk, say US CAD right shoulder after engulfing and long weak candle. Which time frame on the US CAD? Okay, I think I know. So shoulder, head, and shoulder breaking below that neckline. So what we're talking about here is a bit of a shoulder, a bit of a head, and then that shoulder there. But overall, that neckline is still at this point. I think that's why we had that dotted line there. Could work. So this will be an early entry. For this push down, it's going to be the CPI data tomorrow. Is going to be the Bank of Canada interest rates decision tomorrow, and also how the dollar index is going to be moving for now. Okay. So yep, I see that head and shoulder. Is that the one you're talking about there on this pattern? Right. So if you're a little bit more aggressive, you could be looking to sell down below that point. But yeah, the safer option is there just because of all the news coming out. Bao says, are you having another session about CPI tomorrow? Yes. Well, I'm not going to do a session during the CPI. Okay, I'm not going to do a session during the CPI. I'll be trading during that time. But we will be here. We're here every day, 3 p.m. GMT plus 8. So tomorrow I will be giving you more updates in terms of the CPI, in terms of the Bank of Canada interest rate decision, and okay, BOE is nothing important there. Press conference. Maybe we'll talk about crude oil as well. We haven't been talking about crude oil that much. Okay. So with that said, it's thinking it will go higher first. Yeah, I think in any case, with this moving like that, with the dollar index moving this way, I think in any case we might see it just consolidate along this range. It might consolidate along this range. No worries, pal. Yeah, so we're here every day, 3 p.m. Trade up to that resistance. So what we're saying is, what we're thinking is it might come up, form a stronger shoulder, and then after that trade down. Could happen as well. But why I would think that's a little bit less likely, it's just the way the dollar index is moving. A bit weird, but that's just how it is. Okay. A quick review of how prices have moved so far. Hasn't done too much on the Kiwi, not too much on the Aussie. I'm still looking for that longer term trade move up. Yen bouncing a little bit, so it came close, right? It came down to that 133 level. You can see it just tested, and then now it looks like it's bouncing up a little bit early. Okay, so if it doesn't trade lower to bounce and let you get into that trade, alternatively, what you could be looking for, a safer option, will be for it to break above that high, and then for that move up, right? So for it to retrace, break above, and then it push up again. Okay, pound dollar forming very nicely. I'm actually very interested, getting to be interested in the pound dollar trading up. Euro dollar, a little bit less strength than the pound dollar, right? As we talk about the pound dollar pushing up, makes me think about my pound yen. Doesn't look like it's going to retrace back down. If it doesn't retrace, I'm not going to adjust this because there's not enough. I don't feel like it's worth doing that 50 pip move and then that 30 pip stop loss. It's just not that kind of trade. So if it doesn't trace down and bounce, then forego the pound yen. Euro yen not doing too much because of the euro dollar. Swiss franc looks like it's going to trade down, looks like it's going to find that support and consolidate. and then the US CAD. Well, we talked about that as well. Okay, so with that said, if there's no further questions, I'll do a couple of things. I will be uploading this chart, right, as a summary of our session today. I will update the link on the Discord for the Discord channel. So to something that doesn't expire, I'll figure that one out. So if you haven't already, then check out the link when it comes up on this post. You can always join there. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask it in the Discord channel. We can always take our questions beyond this session into Discord. Share your trade ideas, share your experience, share your views. Let's build that community together. So take care, trade well, trade safe, and I'll catch you tomorrow, 3 p.m., same time, same place. Bye-bye now.